Hello all, and welcome to another episode of Proudland, where it is all of Proud and half of me. I'm your host, Roland, sitting here digitally in my comfy chair with Proud.
Hi, I'm Proud.
How are you, Proud?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah, it's Thanksgiving Day. We're recording this anyway.
Thanksgiving's today for us. Yup.
I figured we'd start the show with the cheesy thing that we all have to do, which is, what are you thankful for, Proud?
Roland.
I was gonna say you.
Oh my god.
What the fuck? Really? Is this where this is gonna go? Just back and forth?
I'm afraid it is. You're
all
the
right.
best.
Well, I'll start.
I'm the best.
Well, I'm gonna start.
Okay.
I'm thankful for Proud because he brings in a perspective and an energy that is something that I think we all realized the second we heard him on the microphone was unique. I know the first time Proud came on Theorycraft Thursday, this is when I was still hosting the show with Ursinity, that finally I could stop hosting the show with Ursinity, and hopefully this Proud guy would take up the reins on being the co-host with Ursinity. That worked out well, as you can see. I'm also thankful to have done this show with Proud. I've never played better Dota in my life, and I feel like I'm getting exponentially better at an exponential rate. And Dota has never been more fun in my life. God bless Dota 2. That video game is the best video game I've ever played in my life, hands down.
Yeah. I mean, it's not better than Dark Souls 1, but it's, as far as like playing, yes, most fun game to play ever made.
Oh, I feel like, I mean, especially the watching replays thing.
Did you see that article that AY put out?
No, I didn't.
Oh, he just put out a fucking article that was about how like sandbox mode and replays are like how good it is for the Dota 2 for like competitive games and like the effect that sandbox mode has on games. So I thought you were directly referencing, because he talked about a lot about how great replays are, and like some games replays aren't really accessible.
Yeah, no, it's so. Of course, for 2 years, I lived in blissful ignorance saying that why in the hell would I waste my time watching a replay, even on 2 times speed or 4 times speed? I know what happened that game. I know that I fucked up there. Or I know that or in a winning game, I know that I just carried and stomped. Well, even in those huge stomps or in those huge losses, there's a lot of information to glean that you most likely didn't glean while you were playing the game. I've noticed with my carry play where I feel completely justified standing somewhere while I'm playing the game, and then watching the replay, I'm literally shaking my head at myself.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh my god, you really, like, I remember your frame of mind just an hour ago because I watched them immediately after. You felt safe here. No wonder you died, you idiot.
Yeah, no, like, honestly, like, one thing you can look at on a replay, you can say, like, oh, I died here, but there was, like, given the vision that I had, there's no way I could have known. But, like, that's true under the information that you have about the game for now. But, like, if you can look at that game and then, or rather, like, look at that situation, remember how you thought, and at least put a check mark in your head, like, hey, the next time the map looks like this, and I think this, there is a higher chance than I expected that I would die here. So, like, next time I get into a game and I have that mindset and I'm standing in a place, in a, like, map situation that looks like this, put one more check in the I might die here column.
Yeah, and also the illusion that being by a tower, being behind a tower means that you are 100% safe and that nobody can ever touch you. So as I've been playing on this Smurf...
Let me tell you if you've heard this before. This is something that I always hear when people compare Dota towers to League of Legends towers. They say, in League, your tower protects you. In Dota, you protect your tower.
Yeah, I would say that's like a hybrid kind of. I mean, your tower does protect you. Let's be honest. Like, that's why people don't dive. That's why people don't dive. But yeah, very slightly. If there are 3 people, even at level 1, yeah, one of them may die, but you're probably going to die too.
It's not so much that your tower even protects you there. It's like your teammates TPing in protects you.
Yeah, your teammates TPing in protect you, especially if they're smart and they're diving you under tower. And what I mean by smart and diving under tower is they're not right-clicking on you and walking. They're just walking toward you, but not... The tower doesn't know that they want to attack you.
Yeah, they're not like right-clicking you from like outside the map and doing it.
Yeah,
they're just like, you know, walking next to you, scream of pain, walking next to you, scream of pain, and then start right-clicking, you know, that kind of shit.
Exactly. So, I mean, just like we talked about on last week's Proudland, where creeps and towers know when you know your intent long before your intent ever comes to fruition.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
so
can smell the aggression.
they can smell the aggression. So if you're going to dive somebody under tower, make sure you're standing right next to them before you actually right click on them, because the tower won't know until you do that. But what I've been noticing is I played a bunch of normal skill and finally climbed into high skill, and people are dogpiling me, and I'm quickly noticing it. And then I'm going and hiding in trees, and I'm still dying, and I'm like, what the fuck? There's a tower there. Well, that's not enough. Especially with the prevalence of Mirana and the prevalence of Pudge, these displacing and long stunning heroes, and skill shot. I mean, people will dogpile you. They know that you are the hard carry, and I'm taking this from a safe lane perspective, and that you should die a lot if they want to win.
Yeah.
And so
they want to kill you a lot. You should not die a lot.
You should not die a lot.
They want that to be the case.
Yes, and they will, and it's just such a fundamental difference from going from a normal skill bracket into a high skill bracket, is people understand the objective that if we leave this hard carry alone, he will become a problem. If we keep pestering him, maybe he won't become a problem as fast. And they are willing to do more than normal skill players are willing to do. And I think it's these rule of thumbs that hurt normal skill players, where it's like, never go under tower, never do this, never do that, never do this. And they're just so beholden to those laws.
I would agree to a point, but a lot of the time, like, those rules are sort of like, I think of them almost like the safeguards that Charles Xavier puts on Jean Grey so that her Phoenix powers don't go wild. You know what I mean? It's like, you don't know how to handle this power, so I'm just not going to let you access it. Like, you don't know how to handle diving a tower, so I'm not even going to let you, like, I'm just going to tell you that it just doesn't work, and, like, then you won't access your Phoenix powers and then blow up an entire sentient world, like, and just not know it. That's the comparison I want to draw here. So,
and
like,
it's true.
Yeah, you can dive under tower, but you will not know when to do it, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, and for the most part, I mean, if somebody would have told me, I mean, I was diving towers anyway, but if somebody would have empowered me and been like, good for you for diving those towers and chasing that guy and right-clicking him the whole time while the tower is just pecking at you, and that guy gets a kill with one right-click, I mean, yeah, that would have been bad for me to know, and I'm thankful for the rule of thumb, but...
Yeah.
Last hitting under somebody's tower is something that I feel super comfortable doing.
Wait, last hitting under someone else's or under yours?
Under mine and under somebody else's, depending on the situation that I'm in. If I see 4 other people on the map and I'm up against somebody that really can't disable me, say like an Abaddon, and I'm an anti-mage, I'll last hit under his tier 1 and not aggro the tower. And just make sure that, okay, if Abaddon like right clicks me or whatever, I have a blink available and I can just get out when I need to. So,
hey, side note, when you're radiant and you're last hitting under the Dire Tower, you know, there's like that one, there's like there's a tower, and then there's like one fucking tree, and then like the regular block of trees to the right of it. Do you know that one fucking tree that I'm talking about?
It feels like a timber saw tree. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking
about. With your Quelling Blade, like, always cut that fucking tree. That tree lets their offlaner like line of sight you when he's trying to escape. It like makes it really hard for you to walk around creeps. Like, let's say you want to last hit the ranged creep while like your creeps meet under that tower. Like, your creep, like, there's gonna be just like a fucking wall, and the only hole through the melee creeps is gonna be that tree. So just like always cut that tree. Just that little tree, always cut that fucking tree. You don't know what I'm talking about? Anytime you get in a game, and you're fucking Radiant safe lane, look at their tower, you will know the tree I am talking about.
Yeah, a really easy way to visualize this tree is if you hold Alt and you see how far the tower shoots out. It's right on the cusp of like where the tower will stop shooting, is where this singular tree is.
Game right now? Like, how did you know?
I play core a lot. I know exactly what tree you're talking about.
I know you know the tree I'm talking about. Like, you described it pretty specifically.
Because I'm looking at 2 different monitors. I'm looking at Dota buff. It's a timber saw tree. Like, just like the tree near Roche, in my opinion, is a timber saw tree. There are trees in the game that I just look at as timber saw trees because, well, hey, that guy needs to move around too, and unless you leave that tree up, which is dumb, you should probably cut that tree down. Especially if you're going for the rune and you have a Quelling Blade, never leave that tree up.
Dude, that's something that I neglect to do a lot until I reach like level 4, and then I'm like, oh shit, is like when I'm leaning against a timber saw, I should just use my Quelling Blade every time it's up.
Yeah.
Like, in the lane, just nonstop Quelling Blade the shit out of it. Like,
there was some pro that talked about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I do it sometimes, but it's normally like after lane phase is going for a little bit.
But
Like
you have so many checklists to go through already. You have denying, you
Right.
have harassing, you have last hitting. Like to
Yeah.
add like I need to cut a tree down every 4 seconds on top of that
Yeah.
is just another thing that just bogs you down.
Yeah.
So I mean that's something that fucking if you can do it, good on you. Usually I don't have a quelling blade at the start of the game though, to be honest.
Well, not. I mean, that's like the first thing I buy, basically.
Yeah, same. Side shop, you usually have 200 gold, unless you do the mango start, and then you got to get a couple of last hits, and then you can get the
Yeah. Well,
get the quell.
It's always like 2 or 3 last hits, and then you get it.
Yeah, but because this show, you guys, is being recorded on Thanksgiving, where we have a smattering of different foods. A lot of people will go traditional. A lot of people will go non-traditional. That's what we're gonna kind of do today on this episode of Proudland.
I admire the effort you put into that.
Well, I mean, it was all I could really think of on how to describe kind of what I want to talk about, because I'm going through this journey of solo, unranked. I'm really trying to calibrate before my baby is born. Like, that is my goal. I had all the time in the world to fix my mistakes, and now all of a sudden I have no time, and I want to do it.
Think of it. This is your racing Ursi to 5K. Only it's racing your wife's child.
Yeah,
I mean, it's your child too, but your wife's pregnancy.
Yeah, and I really, really, really want to get at least calibrated before the baby
into life.
Just so I can do that whole thing that everybody does, where I just leave my MMR alone for the rest of time after that, and just be like
50-16.
Yeah, and just like, yep, I'm this level of player, whether I've decreased in that skill or not.
I hate this patch. I'm honestly just not playing solo ranked until we have a new patch. Like every time I think, oh, I should play Dota, play solo ranked, I'm like, what fucking hero am I gonna play? Like, there's no hero that's interesting to me right now.
Yeah, and it's funny that you bring that up, because that is part of the itinerary today. So let's actually jump right into that.
All right.
So first and foremost, I did some late night analysis last night on late 6.87 and what were the top 10 picks. And now what I consider late 6.88, even according to when the next patch with Monkey King is supposed to come out. This I don't think there will be another 6.88 X.
No,
it's probably just going to go to 6.89 at this point. So for late six,
it's that or 7.0.
It's that, yeah, or it's just a straight, not even 6.89.
Honestly, I'm 50-50 split on whether or not we're going to get a 7.0, honestly.
Well, I did read an article, and I think it was also from Owie, saying that expect a crazy change up, like bigger than 6.84 in the way the game plays. And I'm really excited to see what happens. I think we're going to see some reworks on some heroes. Especially after looking at this, I think we're going to see a rework on PA. I have Nostradamus that out a bunch. But
I don't know about that. I think her crit needs a rework, but the heroes, I mean, like the thing with their reworks is they don't really rework anything unless it's like unless it hasn't been interesting for a very long time, and they've made a lot of changes to PA recently.
Well, they're fixes. They're not even they're fixes.
The dagger has been getting the dagger has been given a great deal of experimentation. I think the only thing wrong with PA right now is just her crit. Like her crit is dumb.
It's a skillless thing, and the dodge is a semi-skillless thing.
The dodge is fine. Like if it's a 50% thing, like the dodge, like the fact is you do not do much physical damage to PA unless you get Silver Edge or MKB. There's no skillless fact about it. It's just that she takes almost no physical damage through evasion. And that's true. Just but if it was I don't know, something that's skillless, I would say evasion wise is like Radiance can be pretty dumb, really low percentage thing like that, and Time Walk was perfect for that because it was a really low chance to just invalidate some crazy shit. But I mean, PA's dodge, it's if you predicated on you one-shotting her, it's it's gonna average out.
Yeah, it's and we'll see. So going over the heroes on so the top 10 picks, and this was the last iteration of 6.87. So this is basically right before 6.88 comes out. The top 10 picks in order were Phantom Assassin, Pudge, Slark, Invoker, Legion Commander.
You can't just say, okay, start again, please.
Okay, so the number one pick at the end of 6.87, and I think this was 6.87C, I think was the last.
Are these just the most picked heroes.
Yeah, the most picked, not
So
necessarily
like
win
right
rate.
now, if you check Dota Buff, the most picked heroes.
This will never change because this is an old patch. So if you go to Dota Buff and you go to 6.87C for heroes, these are the top 10 picked heroes at the end of 6.87C, which was Phantom Assassin in first place, Pudge in second place, Slark in third place, Invoker in fourth place, Legion Commander in fifth place, Wind Ranger in sixth place, Juggernaut in seventh place, Lifestealer in eighth place, Sven in ninth place, and 10th Axe. So that's what we were seeing in 6.87. Of course, we'll get into this a little bit more. I didn't look up patch notes specifically for why. I feel like there's some obvious reasons there, but we'll go into now that we're in late 6.88. This is as of Wednesday.
Wait, you're looking at 8.8F, yeah?
I'm looking at 8.8F. Yes, I'm looking at the current, late 6.88, the most, 6.88F. We're looking at Pudge in the first spot. We're looking at PA in the second spot. We're looking at Legion Commander in the third spot. Surprisingly, we're looking at Sniper in the fourth most picked. I found this surprising, but I feel like there is a lot of insight to gather on why Sniper is fourth most picked. Invoker yet again in the fifth. Slark in the sixth. Juggernaut in the seventh, which is the same as late 6.87, same spot. Mirana, eighth most picked. Axe, ninth most picked. And Ricky, 10th most picked. So from then to now, there is only 3 heroes that have changed, which are Wind Ranger, Lifestealer, and Sven in 6.87, and Sniper, Mirana, Ricky in 6.88. I feel like Mirana is obvious. Aghanim Scepter, right?
Yeah, was that?
That was 6.87 into 6.88.
Yeah.
So Mirana got an Aghanim Scepter that at first was incredibly fucking good, then got patched and was still really good, and then got patched again and is still really good. So Mirana makes a lot of sense to me. What at first jarred me was Snipe and Pudge. Honestly, I wish I could have just omitted Pudge from this, because Pudge is just a hero that is a pub hero that people love because he can hook people.
Not anymore, man. If you look at like most picked, for overall, this is totally correct. If you go to the like meta section and you look at what's most picked in like high tier games, what is it this month? Pick percentage, yeah, Pudge is a 45% pick at 5K plus games. Then he goes down to a 30% pick at below 2K, and then it's like 35 above 2K, and then 40% about above 3K, 42% above 4K, because 5K strats trickle down to 4K, and then it kind of beyond 4K, it's just kind of all like pub preferences for the most part. But
yeah,
I mean,
I feel like I see Pudge in
more
every
high tier
game.
games than low tier games now, because he's so fucking good.
I mean, he's incredibly good, and if you're good with him, then he is just that much better. Also, with the new items that were added, and I consider them new, I guess they're probably over a year old now. Matter of fact, I'm sure they're a year old. Aether Lens. Also, Pudge, I can't remember when Pudge got his Aghanim Scepter, making his hook more frequent. I know it's not super core on Pudge, but I still see it. But Pudge I feel like Pudge is that hero. You have Pudge in Overwatch. You have Pudge in League of Legends. You have Pudge in Heroes of the Storm. You have Pudge in pretty much every MOBA. It makes sense that he's first place in 6.88F and second place in 6.87C, which I'm sure PA only took top on that because of the dagger change, making it so that Ancient Apparition could apply things to it, Battle Fury is applied to it, Skull Basher is applied to your dagger. When that happened, people were like, holy shit, daggers are good.
So wait, let me just make sure, because some of the things you're saying don't really match up to what I'm saying.
I just did an overall. I did overall.
I'm looking at both patch 6.88F and then patch 6.87C. Yes.
Okay.
Because PA is top of both of those patches.
Oh, really? Like I said, I wanted to address it. Things are still changing. When I checked 6.88F, that was yesterday, and Pudge and PA were super close.
Oh yeah, it is really close. That's
so PA just took Pudge as first place, so they're going back and
fair.
forth. So yeah, with my 6.88F, super concrete because
Yeah.
the patch isn't over yet, right?
Yeah.
But still, it makes sense with PA. PA is still incredibly good. The dagger is still incredibly good. They've done things to fix it with lowering the range. But, you put PA mid, that range only hurts for like 2 minutes, and then all of a sudden your dagger is good again. You put PA safe lane, that range doesn't hurt you too bad because you're still getting last hits with it.
It really just affected the support PA. No one can tell me differently.
And absolutely, I mean, what if you're starting out level 1 and your dagger's flying 1375, I think is what it was, or something like that.
Something like that.
Or like 1075, a ridiculous range. Yeah, that's maybe something to consider as a little broken, which they did. So what I want to focus on right now is let's go back to 6.87 for a second and try and understand why Wind Ranger and Lifestealer got knocked off the top 10 list.
I mean, Wind Ranger is a bit of an interesting thing because she didn't really get nerfed too bad, but I think other mid heroes just kind of came into prominence. Like, it took time for people to really be that into Mirana, and like OD was fine at this point. It's just people hadn't started really playing him, so like there were a lot of other mid heroes that were available that we didn't really know about. Like this isn't really so much of a meta where like because normally when you want to pick a mid hero, there's like a list of like 4 mid heroes that you have to pick from, and then there's like a bunch of that like heroes that are okay counters. Like, in one patch it would be like, all right, we can either pick like Invoker or Windrunner or I don't know. I honestly don't know what other.
I guess you saw this on Ham with Vafa, right? He was incredible at Wind Ranger and incredible at Invoker.
Yeah. But I mean, like there was some patch where I think it was like pretty recently. It was like Alchemist, Invoker, Windrunner, and Death Prophet. Like those were the 4 main mids. There may have been one that was in there or not. But then beyond that, like those were just like the 4 fucking mids. And then if you wanted to play mid, Alchemist is kind of weird, but still got like a lot of play. But he's not like a very traditional mid. Invoker took like a lot of like, you needed to be an Invoker player to play him. No one likes Death Prophet, so if you're gonna pub a mid hero, you would basically just like, if you can play Dota, you can probably figure out how to play Windrunner. Like, she's not too crazy, and she's really cool. Like her ulti where she attacks with max attack speed and like crits a shit ton. Like, people like that. So I mean, I think that's where Windrunner came from. But just like as soon as there were other mid options, like you can take a lot of shit mid. Like Storm is good again. You can play like TA is even like fine to pick relatively to how she used to be. Alchemist is like still good again. There's just like you can play Juggernaut, you can play Phantom Assassin mid. Invoker is still good. Like Mirana is like, Mirana kind of took the place that Windrunner used to. I think like the default, not really bad against anything, always good matchups. Can kind of play against anything and isn't a particularly difficult hero to play. So that's kind of where I think Windrunner went.
Well, there is a shift though between physical and magical, right? Between Mirana and Wind Ranger.
That's not really like.
Does that not matter?
I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying the slot as in like where they fit into a team, but as far as if a pub is looking for what mid hero to play, Mirana is similar to Windrunner in that she is like the smallest barrier for entry while being like the most capable first pickable mid hero. Does that make sense?
For sure, and you're absolutely right as far as countering Mirana. I don't know, and Slark seems like a pretty good counter for one reason and one reason alone, and that's if you pounce Mirana, she can't. You pounce Mirana, she can't leap out of it.
Yeah. I mean, there's some other, like, Timbersaw is good against her, because in the laning phase, she can't harass reactive armor for shit, and you can just, like, take her wave and then force her under tower, and that's hilarious. But, yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know, it's kind of whatever, like, Mirana's a good in general mid hero. There's not a lot more to it than that. She just took Windrunner's place as like the easy mid hero to play.
Makes sense. Okay, so let's analyze quickly. I don't really understand the Lifestealer being 8th most picked in 6.87.
He just got nerfed. That's really all there is.
Did he get nerfed?
Like, yeah, he got a base attack time nerf by 0.1, which is honestly a pretty big deal.
Okay, so just something that small can knock somebody. I don't have it in front of me. Do you have it?
I mean, the 0.1 is a small number in comparison to whole numbers, I will say. But,
sure. It's all relative, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. It was like a 7 or 8.75. I don't even remember the number exactly, but it was like a pretty big deal. in terms of like what actually like what happened.
Okay, what about Sven? Sven was top 10 in late 6.87. Is there any reason?
A lot of these are like when a hero first gets popular, people are really eager to play them. Like Lifestealer is good again. Like, oh shit, let's get on that. Lifestealer is still good. It's just that there's this phenomena where when something is like when something is not good and then it is good, people are really excited to play the new hero that they can play again. But over time, they'll get tired of it, right? Like OD got nerfed, but not that badly, right? Like the current way that we play OD was basically as good as it is, as good as it was when it got nerfed.
Oh, sure.
But people just no one touched OD. Same thing with Sniper. Like the way that we play Sniper now is about as good as it was. Although I mean, Hurricane Pike obviously changed a lot, but anyway, there's a lot of heroes that are really really popular, or rather at least see a shit ton of play, and then they get nerfed, and everyone like heaves a sigh of relief. And they're like, thank God I don't have to play that anymore. And they will not try to make that hero work again for a very long time because they just don't have to. And sure. I honestly think that's like a huge phenomena. And that definitely applied to Lifestealer. Like, Lifestealer is still really good. He's definitely way more situational. Like, he used to just be like uncounterable, like best fucking hero. And now he's just still really, really good. But there was definitely a very long period where people were just uninterested in trying him out. And I think that
I'm still uninterested, and it's not for meta reasons or anything. It's more to do with I don't like a hero that I'm forced to fight with, I guess, early on. It feels like Lifestealer, like, okay, I have my armlet, I have my phase, or phase usually.
Yeah, like phase, armlet, and a Blightstone. You're like, all right,
and it's like, go. All right, like I'm not just gonna continue farming. I need to go kill a dude. You know, yeah. I don't like those heroes that are predicated on needing to get a kill to keep going. I would rather just be secure in the fact that if I keep farming, it's going to lead me to a victory.
Oh yeah. His base attack time went from 1.7 to 1.85, so more than 0.1. It was 0.15. That's wow. Huge, man.
Yeah. Okay. So that is definitely a real big reason. Okay. So on to Sniper. So. It's back in 6.83. Sniper, no sniping. Shrapnel, no time before it fell to the ground. Right, it was just instant. Sniper was awesome for this reason. Mask of Madness also was gave you more move speed.
He had a pretty short cooldown on the charges too, so you could like blow all 3 charges and get them back before the next fight.
Yeah, and I abused the shit out of it, and had just a giggly good time because it just seemed too easy. Why are we seeing him going from basically nothing to 4th most picked?
I mean, he got a slew of small buffs, like 6.84, pretty much shit on him. Pretty hard. Like it gave it 0.6 seconds more delay in the
before shrapnel hit in the ground.
And the shrapnel dropped down. But then they got scaled back a little bit, and then 2 patches later, the damage of shrapnel got buffed, and then 1 patch later, the damage got buffed again once it's maxed. And then like in 6.88B, the most recent thing was his turn rate got a little better, and he got 100 more night vision for whatever the fuck that's worth. But I feel like the main thing of it is just that he was just kind of like experimented with a little bit more as a counter pick. Like if everything is viable, that means that everything, or like the counter, if anything has a counter, that thing will become more viable in turn, right? Sure. So, but that really didn't apply too much. The deal with was like OD was good, and we didn't know what the fuck countered him, and then we figured out that Sniper does, and so we started picking Sniper again, and then it would end up we would have Sniper in situations where OD was laned somewhere else to not deal with the Sniper. Then we learn like, oh, Sniper can also deal with like such and such a hero because of his like high attack range or whatever the fuck. Like maybe Sniper's pretty good against Juggernaut or something in the mid lane, or like there are all these weird heroes going mid, and then just the fact that you have absurd range can counter certain heroes that you wouldn't often like need to counter mid anyways. So it's kind of like a chaining of that, and then as soon as something is seen in pro games, it's kind of like the embargo is taken off. It's not like anyone who picks Sniper is a fucking idiot. It's like, well, there are situations where you can pick Sniper, and everyone's like, okay, fine, I can pick Sniper. I'm gonna pick Sniper. I want to play Sniper, and that's just like what happens.
I definitely see a lot of Sniper. Quickly, Ricky he's
also like a very like people play the shit out of Sniper.
Yeah.
People like that guy.
Well, oh, I know. Even when I started, it was so when Denny started, it was his first hero that he wanted to learn. When I first started, because I don't know, the name is deceptive in the fact that it means that okay, I can sit back and not put myself in harm's way and get kills, which is super misleading with Sniper because he may be one of the most important positioning heroes of any hero in my
Yeah,
opinion.
but that positioning is sitting back, so it's still fairly
Sure, and it is sitting back. But as a new Dota player, sitting back is like getting a puppy and just expecting it to sit the first time you tell it to sit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just not gonna happen. And I quickly stopped playing Sniper when I first started playing Dota because I realized, okay, this dude, yeah, he requires more than what I thought he required. So it's cool to see him rise. You still see Shrapnel with him, right? I really don't play him. What are the item builds and skill builds here? I mean, I guess you can look at it.
There's a lot of shit. You still max Shrapnel. Get like 1 point in reach, 1 point in headshot, max Shrapnel. I mean, you get phase boots and I like phase boots personally. Dragon Lance. You can go Mask of Madness if you want to. Maelstrom is good. Windlace is good. Like if I were to play him, I think the last time I played him, I went like my build I don't think is super current or whatever, but I would go what is it? Phase Boot, Aquila, Dragon Lance, and then immediately Hurricane Pike if I really needed it, which I think I did because I was against like a fucking Clockwork or something. But then I would just get like a Maelstrom into a Mjolnir, something simple like that. Like Maelstrom's just really good on this hero. And you can really get any item you need because his auto attack is like a blank slate. Like there's no aspect of it that you need to play to outside of the fact that headshot gives you overall like plus 10 or 15 damage or something like that, and also has that like slow attached to it. So like attack speed is good on him. He already has a small amount of built-in damage, but beyond that it's just an auto attack. So Maelstrom for farm speed or lightning bounces and shit to get some AoE team fight damage going, or just farm speed. Then something like Diffusal, who knows, whatever.
I mean, you're absolutely right. So looking at like the number one dude, I mean, it's Take Aim and it's Headshot, all the way to 6, where you grab, of course, Assassinate, and then you max Take Aim and Headshot. And then Shrapnel is last, and you build Mjolnir.
Wait, they're leveling Shrapnel last?
Yeah, you don't even get... They say level... So the top dude right now, and this is just some top dude, doesn't even get Shrapnel till level 10. Not to say that that's correct or anything. That just to say
I'm just gonna say that's not correct. That may just be one person. I mean, unless I'm just fucking wrong, I'm pretty sure
Shrapnel's absolutely good. I mean, it's an area slow. It's an area damage. It doesn't fall for 0.6, so it makes it harder to predict.
People level Shrapnel. Like I'm looking at actual pro players' games. Like
I'm sure they
do get Shrapnel.
I'm sure they do. This is just one guy. I mean, and that's why you guys got to be careful. I mean, even these really high level players, they do things that work for them and that may not necessarily work for you. Who knows what that guy's play style is? Who knows why he doesn't get Shrapnel and why he focuses on other things? And
I can see like maybe against OD you might want to do that, maybe, but because if you really want the range, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to look at a lot of things to be able to say anything about that. Yeah, everyone goes Shrapnel. All right, okay,
exactly. So I mean that's interesting. I would like to touch on Ricky making an appearance in the top 10 most picked. So my theory before you go real quick is the popularity of, I mean, just look at our top picks here. We have Legion Commander, we have Invoker, we have Slark. So the two heroes I'm looking at most here are Invoker and Slark. Ricky is really fucking good against Invoker and Slark.
I don't even think it has anything to do with that at all. Like, none of this I think has anything to do with well, I guess some of it has a bit to do with win rate, but I mean, Ricky is he's a hero that is invisible, and most people who play the game are, like the game is like a fucking, I guess not a bell curve. It's just a fucking straight like downward slope on skill. Like there's a huge amount of people at like the lower skill levels, and then as you get better, like there are less and less people. And Ricky is really fucking good when people don't know how to play around him, which is at the low MMRs. So, like, Ricky is he's going to be seen a lot. And also, he was really good in general. So, like, if a hero that's really good at, like, low-tier Dota is also good at high-tier Dota, like a hero, like, people really like to play Pudge. and Pudge is also really good right now. So like he gets a shit ton of play. People really like to play Ricky because they want to be invisible because it basically means invincible. And also he was a really good roamer. So like, you know, he was played in pros and he's also this shitty cancer ass hero. So he was played in. That's why like I think any fucking like crazy cancer like low level pub hero should not ever be good. Like Bloodseeker should not be a competitive hero. I
No.
don't care. Like Bloodseeker, Techies, Pudge, none of those heroes should ever be first pickable in Pro Dota. Like, never.
I mean, Techie's made a team millions of dollars if you think about it. That was back in
Yeah,
2015, but
he was that broken. And
arguably, yeah,
I still see people say, like, Techies wasn't that bad. Like, no, you fucking idiots. Holy shit, Techies was so fucking incredible. And I mean, by that bad, I meant, like, that bad as in that crazy broken.
yeah.
Techies was broken as fuck.
Well, yeah. I mean, I miss the days where I could only place 20 red mines, because they were stronger, even though two of them is
And the
exactly equal to
cooldown.
one.
Yeah.
But the difference there is they're in instance, right? So if you walk over two bombs, you take 25% magic resist on both of those bombs. Well, not walk over them. Those are the green bombs that are magic.
Yeah.
Basically saying that doubling up means that you get the chance for armor twice instead of the chance for armor
Well,
once.
armor's percentage wise, so that doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't matter. You're right. Okay.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean, just it's just that you need to sit there placing bombs. You can't just like pop out
Well,
once,
they
go back,
have the
pop out once,
cooldown
go back.
too. So
Yeah,
it
it's just the amount of time that you need to be in vision of the stack that you are making, and also you can't do like the main thing is that like the main trick that Tickies do that still is strong as shit is like when you want to go in for a last hit, they'll just drop a bomb on the creeps, and then it'll pop when you fucking go for the last hit, no matter what you do.
yeah.
And that's just like, well, I'm out fucking like 150 health,
Yeah.
and there's nothing I can do about it.
So
God, Tickies is so dumb.
you don't think that and oh, by the way, one thing that I noticed recently that I didn't read a patch note on, which I should have. I don't know if you remember dusting Ricky, him ulting, and then when he'd come out of the ult, he was no longer dusted.
Yeah.
Fixed. Thank
Good.
fuck. That I thought
Yeah.
I couldn't believe the horse shittery of that, dude.
Yeah, the Ricky ult is like the fact that you can ulti and then blink out of it. Like Jesus
Well,
Christ,
the fact that you
see that
could,
was
the
absurd
fact that
enough.
I could dust you, you hit ult, and then you come out and you're no longer dusted, and my dust is now on cooldown for 30 seconds, was
Yeah.
like, what? How the fuck do I kill him then,
And
Valve?
yeah, killing him with like you couldn't just do it with one sentry either because he would just like you drop sentry then he just blink strike.
Yeah,
someone.
blink.
You're like,
Yeah,
well,
blink out.
you have to use like a dust and a sentry. Oh my
A
god.
dust and a sentry, and then a dog pile. And so
Yeah.
now he's become easier to kill. But I honestly think that it is Ricky's smoke cloud ability that puts him anywhere on the top 10. I mean, I love
No,
picking Ricky into
it's
AM.
it's totally his invisibility that puts him like at the top. Like, I mean, his smoke cloud is what makes him so good. You're right about that, but him being good has very little to do with
Is his pick rate.
His pick rate.
Yeah.
I honestly like it's. I mean, him being good is why he's picked in pros, and that does help his pick rate some. But like people were playing Ricky regardless. Like when he was shit tier, but he was a carry. Because I mean, you look at this, he's the only like non-carry besides like Pudge that's really high up here on the list, right?
Yeah. No, he
And
is.
I mean, there's like Axe too, kind of, but I mean, you know, like he's played as a support, and like people don't like, they don't pick him because they want to play a support. They just like picked him when he was a fucking carry. Even when he was shit, but he was a carry, they picked the fuck out of him. You know,
And he
like,
built
mass
fun
volumes
items.
of people.
He builds fun
Yeah.
items. He builds Diffusal Blade, which I would argue is a really fun item.
Yeah, the Fusel's fun.
And
And Basher and
Basher and the Moragi
so.
and Yasha, and you try and run really fast while invisible, and Tricks of the Trade is a fun ability to hit that and then go off the map, and yeah, no, it's a fun ability. Okay, anyway, moving on to a different subject, which is, I mean, I don't know quite how to phrase it, but what I've started to realize is there are 7 really important items for me as a carry that I need to put a lot of thought into when buying them, or when thinking about buying them. First and foremost, I'd like to start with Lincoln Sphere and talk to you a little bit about, at first, my reluctance to build Lincoln Sphere on Morphling and Medusa, and
Yep.
now why I understand it so fucking beautifully clearly, and that I want more people to also understand why it makes so much sense to go Lincolns like brown boots Lincolns after Aki, like maybe brown boots Aki Lincolns on Morphling. And the one thing that I wanted to start this conversation with is Lincoln Sphere alone is not why it's good on Morphling. It's a Lincoln Sphere with your ultimate. And you need to be using your ultimate defensively or split pushy, or if you're winning or whatever, maybe offensively. I would say, in my opinion, probably more defensively or more split pushy. But the point of the Lincoln Sphere, which is something I didn't understand for the longest time, I saw it in every build and was like, fuck that, I want Agi. Where's the Agi in Lincoln Sphere? You know, why?
There's 15 of it.
There's 15 of it, but it's just so expensive, and I'd much rather just get my Yasha and my Manta. The thing, what that Lincoln Sphere allows you to do is press your ultimate and get away. And oh my god, have I realized and come full circle on this, on just how important it is to have a Lincoln Sphere and to be getting it first, and how it allows you to progress just so quickly. Really, I just wanted to touch on like that.
Well, I mean, it's also like the mana and health regen on Lincoln's is so like unreal good for Morphling. Like Morphling uses a shit ton of mana in nerf. He needs stats, which is true, but it's not to say like he doesn't. It's not. He needs strength because strength can be agi as well as. Or sorry, he doesn't just need agi. He needs strength because I mean strength can be agi as well, right? He needs agi because agi's agi, and he's Morphling, and he needs int because everything he does costs mana. Like even E-Blade is like a shit ton of mana.
Yeah.
And his waveform is like fucking 900 mana, and his ulti is 25 to cast and 150 to go back. Like every one of his spells costs about like.
And adaptive strike. I mean, if you're gonna do a shotgun build,
adaptive strike is pretty cheap, honestly. But you have to pile that on.
Yeah, you do, and
it's like 90 mana. Or
it's only 90, but I mean, it's important.
No, it's 70. Once you have it maxed, it's 70.
Oh,
but
it's 70.
But you have to layer that on E-Blade, which is how much fucking mana?
Yeah, you have to like E-Blade, adaptive, go into them.
Yeah, so, a combo is 170, and then if you want to also throw a waveform like onto that, which you need to because of fucking like raindrops these days, that's another 165 to throw on. And then you want to morph out after you
we're talking like 500 mana for a combo.
Yeah,
for one kill.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then you also have like your fucking boots of travel that you want to use, and morphing, and it's just it's fucking wild.
So because you helped me so much, and and you're slow as shit.
Wait for them around to move. So yeah.
And picking up that Lincoln Sphere, you guys, I know it's so tempting to just like, I mean, I do it before treads. I know that most builds say treads then Lincolns, but
I don't even build treads, man. Most builds that I look at don't build treads.
Okay, well, I'm glad. I feel a little bit more justified. I usually get treads right immediately after finishing Lincolns, then go into Yasha, then go into possibly Manta. Maybe I finish Manta, maybe I go E-Blade, but that's beside the point. The point that I wanted to get at was talking about these items that are kind of unique. And what I mean by unique is they are items that are both good for stats, for mobility, for your hero, but they're also good at countering specific lineups or specific heroes that are taking advantage of you.
Yeah, they're sort of like enabling items, like like okay, the word I always use for things is transformative items, but these are like transformative utility items.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Transformative utility items. They don't
transform your damage from one thing to another. They transform like the way your hero can play.
Yes, and I'm including a support item in here that supports will pick up. And the 7 that I thought up,
which is the support item.
The Ghost Scepter. I would say that just having a Ghost Scepter would be more of a support thing to pick up a Ghost Scepter against like a Juggernaut or something like that. Ghost
Scepter is definitely a transformative item
for a support. So I chose for the 7 Manta Style, Lincoln Sphere, Black King Bar, Crimson Guard, Ghost Scepter, Pipe of Insight, and the honorable mention being Lotus Orb. Because these items,
Manta, Lincoln's, BKB.
Crimson
Blink.
Guard. I didn't include Blink Dagger. These are more items.
Okay. Sorry, I just assumed that you did.
Blink Dagger absolutely is a great, item and has 50.
But I mean, people get Blink Dagger. There's not a lot of mystery around what that thing does.
Basically, what I'm getting at with these items is situations when to buy these. I mean, I know that Jug gets Manta Style. I know that Morphling gets Lincoln Sphere.
Yep.
I know that Sven gets BKB. Yeah, I know that Axe gets Crimson Guard. But I want to know a little bit
That's
more
questionable.
of like why. You taught me the why on why Morphling gets Lincoln Sphere. Let's kind of figure out the why on, I guess, Juggernaut Manta Style.
Okay.
Why?
Well, do you want to be? Are we like done with Lincolns? Because I mean,
We don't
Morphling is
have to
not
be
the
done
only
with
hero
Lincolns.
that
No, I
buys
just wanted to
Lincolns.
let people know that these were the transformative. These were the 7 items that we chose.
All right. So are we
Yeah.
on Manta now?
No, if you want to continue
All right,
on Lincolns, if you have more to say on Lincolns, absolutely,
it's,
please.
it's whatever. Okay, so yeah, no, that's fine. We'll do more Lincolns because I want to talk about like, I mean, Morphling. Okay, so if you want to talk about why Morphling builds Lincolns, there's the obvious oh, man, it's good for him, all that shit. There's the slightly interesting thing where you say, oh, he can split push really well because, and this applies to Weaver as well. He can be split pushing, and then as soon as your Lincoln pops, you know it's time to get the fuck out of there. And you can just press R and you're gone, or your Weaver, and you can press R and you're gone, or so you use Sakuchi away and save your ulti. Whatever. Like you have a kind of like a trigger system where like as soon as the alarm is tripped, which is your Lincoln Sphere, you know to get the fuck out of there immediately. Although that doesn't work if you're gonna get like blink, something like that. That's the general philosophy on it. But on a more general sense, I mean, Morph he needs the mana regen, he needs the health sustain. The only item you're gonna get for health sustain besides that is like some people used to go Helm of the Dominator on Morphling, but that's super shitty. And I don't know, it just gives really good stats. It has 15 damage on it, so like it's effectively like it's 15 agi and 15 damage from Morphling offense wise, and then also 15 strength, so it can effectively be like 30 agi. It's just like really decent. It kind of fills out your hero and makes them not need to really worry about sustain. So it's also good on a hero like Weaver, who needs mana regen, but is not going to build like an Echo Saber or something like that. Needs some health regen, not much, but a little bit. But Weaver isn't going to build Life Steal or something like that. Like he doesn't need it that badly. He just needs like some incidental. And they also need some stats to fill themselves out. Like Weaver super squishy. If you can throw a bit of Happy Boy, same thing with Morphling and Faceless Void. Faceless Void just wants to be fucking huge. And like really difficult to deal with. And if in Faceless Void, like you can only really kill him if you just lock him down for an extended period of time, if you can't time walk out, right? But if you're dealing with a Lion and Lion can't use like all of his skills on you and has to like break up his skill rotation to like do a mana drain, or he has to mana drain you before he can start out with a stun, like you'll have time to time walk away and shit like that. So like most of these heroes that build Lincolns, they just have like they're generally deficient in stats, and there's no real obvious clear like sustain option for them. That's pretty much it. Like Faceless Void, you like people go Vlad's on him all the time, but if you have a carry Faceless Void, like you don't want your carry to go first item Vlad's unless it's like Lycanthrope, in which case like Lycan isn't that great a carry anyways. And he goes, vows for different reasons. Like, there's nothing about Faceless Void that makes him want Vlad's outside of the fact that, like, there's really nothing else. Like, PO used to go Vlad sometimes, because you just like, shit, I just need some fucking sustain on this hero, but there's nothing else for me. Like, making sense. I'll just get Vlad's, I guess. And Faceless Void is the same way. So, like, if you have a reason to go Lincolns instead of Vlad's on a hero, in general, like if it's a carry that's going to guarantee get the farm, like normally you kind of do.
Yeah. No, I agree. Those are all good points. I'll be honest with you. I have never, well, not never. I should never say never, but I don't usually, if ever in my pubs, have I seen a Faceless Void build Lincoln Sphere. But it makes a ton of sense.
It was like the meta thing at TI 6. A lot of carry voids build Lincoln Spheres.
Makes a ton of sense.
Yeah,
if you can time walk away. Cool. And it's like radar. It is just like an early warning detection system where it's like, okay, time to get the fuck out. It is popped, bloop, and you're gone. And Lincoln Sphere has an incredibly low cooldown. You can just kind of like time walk out and like doop a 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 doop, and then go reinitiate, and your Lincoln Sphere is off cooldown. And like, oh, it popped again. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, well, you don't even have to, because it just like it blocked a spell. Like, let's say you're dealing with a lion, and then lion, like blinked in and hexed, and your Lincoln Sphere popped it or something like that. Like, you're not gonna have to deal with hex, so like lion cannot lock you down long enough for them to kill you. So you're just fine for that entire fight until hex is back up again.
Sure. And I would suggest at the start of a game, just looking at your enemy team and just saying, okay, they have an Enigma, Malefice. Okay, they have a Lion. Okay, I'm dealing with 2 things that are going to pop Lincolns. I'm dealing, Necro. Lincolns is going to be good here. A bunch of things. That's usually what weighs my decision, and I will get it on Sven often. Not because he's deficient necessarily in regen, just because he is a Dom carrier, but just because I need to stay alive and slice bitches.
It's a Dom.
Yeah. I need to dom people. All right, so let's move on to Manta style.
I have like Lincoln's is seeing a lot of play just like in general, as just like a different kind of BKB for like the mid late or for the late game, which I've been liking. I've liked these Sven builds that I've been seeing a lot. Like people are really changing it up, and it's super cool. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit, but like. Yeah, there are some games that Lincolns are just really good for. Like Dota is so weird right now. Like it's so fucking strange. Like seeing Wings play, everyone is just buying like a shit ton of Lincoln Spheres and Crimson Guards and shit, and like BKBs are just being run out and totally ignored. And, like,
yeah, BKBs seeming like a weak item lately.
It's shit, man. BKB. Oh, I hate that item, man. But I mean, I go it. I just. You got. Like,
it's not a fun item. It's like going to the dentist. Yeah, it's
like anytime I'm against a Shadow Demon and I'm playing Sven and like I blink on someone and then Shadow Demon like eggs them. I'm like, that was my like this that. I'm
lost for words.
You can't do that to me like that. I'm balanced around having these 5 seconds, and you just took them away from me. Like, that feeling when you go in on someone and then they Yules, and then you go on someone else and then they Yules, and then you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
And then
game?
they come out of Yules and you get Laguna Blade and then fingered, and you're just like,
and I'm like,
fuck.
okay, like fuck everyone about that. That's when you need a fucking Jarkernot Diffusal who fucking just diffusals them from the sky, and then they're on the ground. They're like, I didn't expect this, and then you Omni Slash them.
Wow, learn something new every day. I did not know.
I showed you that video like 4 times.
I didn't know.
There's like a little clip of me playing Juggernaut, and I was killing this Lena, and then I Yulesed her, or she Yulesed, and I just diffused her down and Omni Slashed her. No. I Omni Slashed her, and then she Yulesed, and then I diffused her while I was Omni Slashing her while she was in the Yules.
Oh my god, dude.
I showed you that. It's on our YouTube channel.
I didn't understand what was going on.
I'm sure I told you.
No, you were like, here's a cool video, and I just see somebody go on this guy and come down. I'm like, wow, that's a weird interaction that Omni Slash has.
Yeah, that was a diffusal while Lena was in the air.
God, you had what, like a 0.6 interval to do that? So you had 0.6 of a seconds to do that before you stopped Omni Slashing.
You don't stop Omni Slashing someone who's in the air. You still do it.
Oh, it's just doing no damage.
They just take no damage. Yeah.
Oh wow, that Lena had to have been like, wait, what? What the fuck? I have never been pulled out of the air.
I almost didn't kill her, and then she like dropped her stun, and it almost got me. But like I spawned at the last second, and then it was great.
And by the way, you want BKB practice? Play Juggernaut. Swear to God, like. I love seeing Wraith King stuns coming at me, and I'm just like,
Yep.
I'm gonna go take a break real quick, and I'll come back and press Q in like 3 seconds, and then oh man, it's
the
fun.
number of times I've been like against a Mirana, and I'm like, if I see that arrow, I'm just gonna spin, and I see the arrow, and then I'm just like, here I go, and then I'm stunned, and I'm like, God, why didn't
I just press it?
What? Yeah, that happened. That doesn't happen to me anymore, but there was like a period of like 6 months. Where I would just like get hit by Mirana arrows while being like, here I go, I'm gonna rage right now, and then I just don't. I'm like, okay.
And then it's just 4 seconds, then you see the whole team just like pile on you.
Why didn't you spin? And I was like, I tried.
My Q button, I swear to God, I need to get some air in there because there's dust under it. I was hitting Q the whole time. Yeah, no, I
want to play Dota.
I want to play Dota too. I want to play Dota 2 2. I know that sounded. I want to play Dota,
Anyway,
comma 2.
all right, let's see if we can cover one other item before we're out of time.
Yeah. So I would like to go over Manta style. So I'm just gonna quickly brush over that. Every video I've been seeing on Top Art Dota, including RTZ, are some sick ass Manta style plays. The reason Manta style is in here is because Manta style has a really high skill ceiling because it's not automatically popped. And that's why I love Manta style. You can see a Slardar blink in and hit Manta style, and guess what? You did not just get crushed because you were quick enough to hit it. That's why I think Manta style is an awesome item.
Yeah, no,
Built on a
there was
lot of
like a
people.
ham game where I like blinked this axe, like blinked their axe, tried to like blink call me, and like I manted it, and then just like immediately like ultied, and he died in like half a second, and I was just like, I'm
Beautiful
so fucking
feeling.
good.
I know. I love
Yeah,
those
just like
feelings.
I
You're
wanted
like,
to take a
just,
photo with
I'm
that.
fucking god. I'm fucking
Or
god at
like
this game.
I was like, oh, I think this was like the same game. We were against a Sven, and you know that set of trees that's like it's a dire mid tier 1, and then that like cropping of trees to the right that you can kind of walk through.
You
There's the dire mid tier
to
1, and then
yeah
just
to the right
of it, there's
to the
these
right of the
trees,
tier
yeah.
one. Yeah, where you always hide. You
Yeah,
always
so
hide
like
in there.
I walked in there, I saw a person, and I was like, shit, I'm gonna get caught. And then I immediately was like, wait 1 second, Manta. And then as soon as I did that, Sven blinked in, threw a stun, and I just like manted it. It was just like guessing that he was gonna
Awesome,
come in.
dude.
And I was like, I'm out, thank you.
I mean, you don't
Yeah.
have much time to do it, but I mean, we've seen RTZ Manta Dream Coil, we've seen RTZ Manta Slithering Crush, we've seen RTZ Manta a bunch of things. So I mean, it is a really cool item, and it's an item that you can only get better with. So buy it.
And the thing with Manta is it's not so much like you don't look at Manta like, is this a good Manta game or not? Like pretty much if a hero is going to build a Yasha item, they're either going to do it or not. It's always like, do I want to go S and Y, or do I want to go Manta here? But S and Y is kind of shit in general now. So it's pretty much always Manta.
Yeah.
The only thing I would ever say is like, you know, maybe the order in which you'll get Manta is changed up a bit. Or
Sometimes
do I
you
want
hold on to
build a
Yasha.
Manta hero.
Yeah.
Sorry, say again?
Sometimes you just hold on to Yasha. I've found that I see people like buy Yasha, get an item, then finish Manta. Is
Yeah, I mean,
usually
that's
what
I do
I
in my
see.
jug, right?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
I go Yasha, finish Diffusal, and then finish Manta.
Yeah.
And a lot of those times it's actually like it can be pretty similar. Like if I'm against Storm Spirit, I can like Diffusal off an Orchid if it gets placed on me, right?
Which
So
is
it's not
huge. Yeah.
yeah, it wastes a charge, but it's like not that big a deal. Like I used to go like if we were against Skywrath or something, and the silence was killing us, like I would just go Manta first and then purge the silence off a friend or something like that and save them that way. Like,
Oh,
you
okay.
do shit like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Diffusal's great, man. If you're not the one getting like if it's a Manta game, as in like there's a lot of things to Manta off, but you're not the one who they're using it on, just like buy Diffusal and Manta someone else via Diffusal Blade.
For sure. Okay, so the item that I'd like to talk about, other than Lincoln Sphere, is Crimson Guard.
Okay.
Relatively new.
I'm gonna first off say that Crimson Guard is not an axe item.
Not an axe item. Okay, I
It's
see
really
it on
not
axe
an
all
animal
the time.
item.
Well, so
It's
the way I
not-
understand
it's not
it,
a good item.
I want to pull it up here real quick because
Fine.
I'm not 100% sure. To be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure exactly like I know what it does. I just don't know the numbers on what it does. So I'm pulling it up. I'm gonna have to Control F this. Crimson. There we go. Okay, so Crimson Guard. So makes the wielder block damage from each incoming attack based on whether the equipped hero is melee or ranged. Block damage melee 32, block damage range 16, guard armor. So basically, it's giving your whole team a Vanguard.
So it's 100% chance to block 55 damage. Yeah, the block damage, melee block damage range that you see there is just for like when the item is on. It's just like the passive effect of the item without the use.
For
when
sure.
you use the item, every hero that is within the radius of like getting the buff will block 55 damage regardless if they're ranged or whatever the fuck.
Oh, okay. So guard damage block. It doesn't matter if they're in this
It
radius.
gives everyone 55 damage block from every individual instance of like an auto attack that would be affected by damage block.
So you don't. Why is this not a good item? Why is this not like a oh god we're getting wrecked by right click? We need Crimson Guards.
Okay, well, it only works against it's like Vanguard, right? It's really good early game, and it's really good early game because it's best off against smaller instances of damage, right?
Yeah.
So if late game, so if Sven is hitting you for 1,000 damage, Crimson Guard is going to do nothing about that.
Yeah.
If if like Troll Warlord only has 120 damage, but he's hitting you absurdly fast, Crimson Guard will do something about that. But the thing is, normally when you're getting wrecked by physical damage, it's like one fucking dude, and he's wrecking you with like 5 auto attacks, right? He's not like
even Slark, which is like a lot of repeated. I mean, he's still getting shit out of that essence shift, right? He's still turning you into like a raisin.
Yeah, and a lot of his damage is like spell damage, anyways, and
yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's like it's really good against like if you're against like a team that's like 5-manning, like this will stop an early 5-man bulk like crazy quick. And against like a Drow lineup where even the supports throw auto attacks, like Crimson Guard will offset their supports getting a bunch of damage. But I think there was like some game where I think it was like Puppy was against I don't know, they were against some team with like a bunch of it's like I think they were maybe against like a Beastmaster or an Enigma or a Chen or something like that. And then like, and it was just like they were just getting stomped at like 25 minutes, and he was either Beastmaster or Enigma, and he just farmed up like a Crimson Guard, so they didn't lose at 25 minutes, because Crimson Guard just like invalidated all of their damage at 25 minutes. That wasn't like, you know, the right clicker or spell damage. So like it can be really good, but in general, like it's not going to be absurdly strong. It's good against like Gyrocopter and shit. I don't know. It's just not.
I gotcha.
The damage block is only good against small instances of damage, and this is a item that you get in the late game, basically, where there are no small instances of damage.
I mean, it's not that expensive. It's $35.50.
But who's gonna buy it?
And that's the thing is who is gonna buy it, and that's why I said it's an Axe item. But really, Axe would just be fine with Vanguard.
So Axe would need what? Tranquils, Blink, Vanguard, Blade Mail, or I mean, if you would go Vanguard, you would go Tranquils, Vanguard,
Blink,
Blade
Mail.
I thought it. Yeah. Anyway, you need at least the suite of, in order to get to Crimson Guard, you need to have bought Tranquils, Vanguard, Blink, and Blade Mail before then, and that's like a lot of gold.
And we're talking like 30 minutes at that point, probably.
Yeah, the build that I used to do, the only time I used to get Crimson Guard was I would play Bristle offlane, and I would go Hood. Oh no, I'd go Vanguard, Hood, Pipe, Crimson Guard, and that was a fucking fun build. And I just had like both Pipe and Crimson Guard, so our team just took no fucking damage.
No,
that just made like the whole team super tanky.
And you're just and you don't take damage anyway as Bristleback.
Because I'm Bristleback.
Yeah. Wow.
And then, you know, in the event that they do, you know, use break on me, that's when I use Crimson Guard and my Pipe. And then it's like, all right, live through the break, then we're fine.
Okay, so before we close, I know that I should buy Ghost Scepter against Juggernaut, because if he Omni Slashes me, I just hit Ghost Scepter and I live. Are there any other really good examples of Ghost Scepter? Of reasons to get a Ghost Scepter as like
fantastic.
A support?
You see a dagger coming at you, Ghost Scepter.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Ursa's fantastic.
Okay.
Sven is kind of okay, kind of not. I don't know. I mean, anytime you're just getting wrecked by a lot of physical, Ghost Scepter's a pretty good buy. It also fills out your stats a lot.
Plus 5 to
5
every
to all
attribute.
stats.
Yeah.
It's basically like, I mean, after Drum's gotten fucking hosed, it's basically as many stats as a Drum gives you. So I just kind of think about it that way. I thought it used to be more than 5 stats. I'm always wrong
6.
about how much
I thought it was
Scepter
6.
gives you.
I'm pretty sure it used to be 6 to every stat.
Yeah, and then they like nerfed the cost by like 100 and took some stats off of it.
Took one.
I'm gonna actually look this up.
I could be wrong.
I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I
thought it was 7 at one point, but no, it got nerfed from like 6 to 5, not from 7 to 5. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay. Well, you guys, thank you for joining us on Thanksgiving. Really what I'm thankful for are all of you listeners out there.
Yep, it did go down from 7 to 5. All right.
Oh, wow.
I'm
Vindicated. I am right. No, I am wrong. No, I am right. I swear I'm right.
Don't do this. Don't do that.
Swear.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that voice.
Said it all before. All right.
Stop it.
I'm Roland, and I'm going to give you your plugs. You can find us at twitch.tv/.ptv. You see a lot of Proud. You see a lot of me. You see a lot of Ursi.
Let's go over one more item.
Okay, one more item.
Yeah.
Definitely Pipe of Insight. You gave me a lot of insight into when to buy Pipe of Insight last week. And that's checking where your damage sources are coming from when you die, which makes, I think, it really easy to buy Pipe of Insight. But what role would buy the Pipe of Insight on the team?
Almost never the carry. Offlaner it's really popular on. Any support that like doesn't have insane, like if the reason that your support is dying isn't their positioning, it's just the way the fights play out. Pipe is really good. Like let's say your Rubik already has a blink or something, but still just like they're against like an invoker, and the invoker just drops a meteor or has his like level 23 plus ags or whatever the fuck, 22 AoE wind blast thing or whatever the fuck. Like if just there's too much AoE damage, like there's a radiance on Spectre and an invoker or whatever the fuck, like just too much ambient damage happening, that's when a support can be like, all right, I need to buy this item. But if it's just like Lena shoots one person, then maybe you can like get away with a Glimmer Cape. But if it's like a huge amount of AoE magic damage fucking everyone up, Pipe is a really good call. Also, if you need to break high ground, and your creep wave just keeps getting killed, you can just Pipe, and your creep wave will like live through a swath of damage.
Do you know how much spell block Pipe gives?
It's 400, right?
I didn't know. I mean, I knew it gave. I mean, I can see the green shield around everybody. I had no idea that it's basically giving, what, 2,000 spell. Yeah. Supposing that you're 5-manning down a lane, that means 2,000 spell damage will be soaked up if all spell damage is given equally to you. So, damn, that's a good item. I thought like it was 100 or something like that.
400 fucking damage.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a AoE 10% of magic resistance to your team too.
Oh my god. And then 30% to yourself, and 8 HP regen, and an aura health regen of 4. I mean, this item is creme de la creme, and it is not that expensive.
No, it's cheap as shit. It's
we're talking like
price.
3K. We're talking, or 3,100, I think, is exactly how much it costs. So
yeah, something like that. I mean, that's more than mech, but still.
More than mech, but god damn, mech doesn't heal for 400.
Yeah.
So
Pipe is absurdly good, and it's made out of a fucking like. I mean, mech is made out of like headdress and buckler. I'm sure that if I say they're shit, someone's gonna be like, actually, they're not that bad because like shut up, they're not that great. Hood is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
There's a game I played on PA where I just like I had, what is it? After I got like my Deso and my Abyssal, I had like Deso, Abyssal, BKB, and then I just bought a Hood after that, and it was like it won the game. Just the fact that I had a Hood and I could like save my BKB for a CC instead of just like, oh, I need to not take damage. Uh-oh, now they have stuns left over now that their damage is done. I could just like use Hood, not take any fucking damage, and then use my BKB for the stuns, like when I wanted to go in.
And
it's great.
If this isn't motivation to build Pipe, or if that wasn't motivation to build Pipe, I hope this is. It has a 61% win rate. Overall games Pipe of Insight does. So take that into consideration, that you're giving your team maybe an 11% advantage on winning the game just by buying this fucking item. And that's, of course, buying it if you need it.
Statistician just turned it off.
Oh, I know. Any statistician was like, you don't understand how shit works. But look at it that way. And then it turned off. I don't know what happened there, but we're not gonna fix that cut. You didn't miss out on anything. Trust me. We talked for maybe 1 second longer than that. But no, Pipe of Insight, great item. Get it. I think that's the point. I am going to close the show out. Thank you all for listening this week to Proudland. Once again, twitch.tv/.ptv. We will not have in-houses for the rest of 2016. They'll be starting up shortly after, in the beginning stages of January of 2017. So come check out season 4 then. Also, youtube.com/.ptv1. You can go email us, defenseofthepatients@gmail.com. Questions for the Tuesday Q&A, or questions for any of us, they'll probably be directed to Tuesday Q&A, which
Word.
Proud and Cyphus will be on the next Tuesday Q&A, which will be exciting to hear.
Yeah.
Also, you can go to another plug, which is defenseofthepatients.com. We actually have a deadline on this that's coming out very soon for V1. It is definitely going to happen, and it's definitely going to be good. It's just, people have lives, and when you're getting services for free, life is going to take precedence over the service. So there's that. Also, Jesus, I'm not good at this.
No, you're not. I remember this. I had to close it out last time, but I'm just going to let you fly.
Okay. There's...
You can say we're done. You just close it. You know, no one owns you. You're your own
Yeah,
man.
I know, but like it's good for the branding to do this. There's what else is there? Oh, there's the Patreon, Defense of the Patients, there / Defense of the Patients. Then there's the Reddit with Jay Gushi, our Defense of the Patients. I am just gonna close her out. Thank you guys for listening to Proudland. This was recorded on Thanksgiving. And yeah, without any further ado, this is Roland for Proud saying no.